4B. Specific functions pertaining to cleansing, we refuse removal, refuse dumps, and solid waste disposal are contained in Schedule 5B. Now, Chair, Mr. Speaker, this is a constitution that you always say you abide by it. But the public participation that you have done, you have not done according to the constitution in terms of the schedule. Now, as the African National Congress, the plan was not properly, people were not properly consulted in terms of this plan. Public participation, I don't know, public participation to you as DA members, to you is to get 5 people in a hall and then you are done. Public participation, we need to educate you in terms of public participation, in terms of the constitution. Public participation is to make sure that all those who are affected, they participate in the process and they are happy with the process. Not to do the process by the way. Therefore, as the African National Congress, we are saying this plan needs to be refined and you must follow us how we deliver to people of South Africa. We're saying, Mr. Speaker, this plan, Mr. Speaker, it does not speak to poor people of the city of Cape Town. And we have violated the constitution in terms of the process. We have not done a proper consultation in terms of the constitution. Therefore, as the African National Congress, we are not in support of this plan. This plan must go back and then public participation must be done.
Thank you. Councillor Cosmos.
Thank you, Speaker. We as EFF are noting the recommendations on page 20. We are in agreement with this. We cannot be against service delivery. Water and sanitation in the informal settlement is key. So on basis of that, we're in support of that.
Thank you. Councillor Haskell. Order, please. Order. Order, please. Councillor Haskell. Order, please.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, this is a 276-page report that struggles to acknowledge the extent of our water crisis. It struggles to acknowledge what it means for our long-term water security, what the city has done in previous years to contribute to this crisis, and what the city plans to do in the short, medium, and long term to sustainably secure our water resources. The report even manages to mislead Council on the reality of the situation. On page 234, it refers to water losses, saying incorrectly that 13.9% of our drinking water is lost without being consumed for human cooking and washing and without being billed and paid for. The city's audited financial statements tell a completely different story. 51 million kilolitres of clean drinking water was lost in 2013-14, costing 164 million rand. 57 million kilolitres were lost the next year, costing 196 million. Up again, 65 million kilolitres were lost in 2015-16, costing 228 million rand. And the city projects that this year that we're currently finishing, we will lose 72 million kilolitres, costing 289 million rand. This represents 15.8% of our drinking water lost in 2013, 18% lost in 2014-15, 19% lost in 15-16, and 22% of our drinking water lost in 2016-17. This is the audited reality, and so therefore the ACDP rejects the lie in this report. But we also note a complete lack of priorities and urgency in terms of dealing with our water crisis. Instead of the Department of Water and Sanitation diverting all possible resources to dealing with the water crisis, it's busy building a new head office for itself. This project first appeared on the budget in 2014-15, and Council approved 181 million rand for its completion by this year. But not the ACDP, we voted against it. In 14-15, it was set to spend 10 million, in the next year 71 million, and this year 16 million. But in 15-16, the 181 million completion budget was shifted to 212 million. The following year, it was shifted to 272 million. And this year, now with the building still isn't complete, and it's now going to cost 295 million rand. 2 years longer than planned and 114 million rand over budget. How is it that this department wants to tell us that we must trust it to look after our water security when they can't build their own head office on time and within budget? In fact, they shouldn't be building it at all, Speaker. In this current financial year, current council budgeted 315...
Conclude, please.
I'll leave it there and I'll carry on later. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Not on the same item. Okay, Raadslid Botha Rousseau.
Ekskuus, goeiedag Speaker en collega's. Die Vryheidsfront Plus ondersteun die Raad se visie om Kaapstad te posisioneer as 'n progressiewe wêreldbesigheidsstad, soos dit die vooruitsig gestel op bladsy 207 in die Water Service Development Plan, IDP Water Sector Plan. In dieselfde asem word dit gestel dat inisiatiewe sodanig aangepak moet word dat dit die minimum impak op die bestaande watervoorsiening infrastruktuur moet inhou. Bogenoemde stelling is 'n erkenning van die stad se huidige benarde posisie in die verband en kan nie gering geag word nie. Trouwens, indien doeltreffende projekte en inisiatiewe nie vroegtydig en doelgerig ingestel en deurgevoer word om laasgenoemde situasie om te keer nie, sal enige inisiatief om die stad as 'n internasionale groeipunt te ontwikkel en te bemark klaaglik misluk. Die Raad moet dus nie voor die versoeking struikel om as ware die waarvoor die perde in te span deur projekte aan te pak om die stad te bemark alvorens ons nie die nodige infrastruktuur in plek het nie. So kan verwys word na bladsy 4 en 8 van genoemde dokument, waar melding gemaak word van die formele vullisverwyderingsdiens wat ingestel is aan die sogenoemde backyarders en inwoners op munisipale behuisingsterreine. Addisionele 240 liter vullishouers word dan aan sodanige bewoners voorsien. Dit is egter nie genoeg om die vullisprobleme in die gebiede aan te spreek nie en word dit beplan om bykomende vullishouers aan die bewoners te voorsien. Die maatreël gaan egter nie die probleem heeltemal aanspreek nie. Die realiteit is dat wanneer sodanige vullishouers vol raak, die bewoners bloot die houers op die naasliggende oop area leegmaak. Uiteraard hou dit gesondheidsgevare vir die inwoners en kinders wat daar woon en speel in. Die stadsraad moet dan teen groot koste vragmotors en personeel uitstuur om sodanige gestorte vullis op te ruim en te verwyder. 'n Praktiese voorbeeld hiervan is die padreserverstene aan die N7 langs de Noon. Dit is twyfelagtig of die blote plasing van bykomende 240 liter vullishouers die probleem sal aanspreek. Dit blyk dus dat die opleidingsprogramme wat reeds in plek geplaas is, nie die nodige oplossing en samewerking van die bewoners verseker nie. VF+ se voorstel is dat oorweging geskenk word aan die plasing van genoegsame grootmaathouers. Ek noem dit skeps, want dit is op die woord wat ek dit ken, op strategiese plekke waarin bewoners hulle oorloopvullis kan stort. Die inisiatief sal uit die aard van die saak gepaard gaan met 'n doelgerigte opvoedingsprogram waardeur bewoners aangespoor word om die skeps te gebruik. 'n Verdere inisiatief wat oorweeg kan word, is om inwoners te vergoed vir die herwinbare materiaal wat by strategiese geplaaste depots in die gebied geplaas word. Laasgenoemde inisiatief kan in samewerking met private entrepreneurs aangepak word en dit kan bydra dat stad Kaapstad 'n skoner, bemarkbare en 'n gesonde stad vir al sy inwoners is. Dankie.
Dankie. Councillor Kassim.
Speaker, firstly, I support the increased use of technology by the city. Smart automated meter reading, better data storage and analysis, and digital platforms to report faults and leaks will certainly allow for better water management. Secondly, optimizing maintenance and at the same time working on the replacement of aging infrastructure will help to stop leakages. Thirdly, capturing and using the same water more than once is a major demand of resilience. The city must encourage retrofitting to allow for the reuse of grey water. Cape Town has also to be a front runner in harvesting rainwater and channeling stormwater into holding areas. Councillor Limburg is correct in emphasizing the need for diversifying our source of water supply. Fog harvesting is highly feasible because the West Coast is ideally suited for such purpose. The CSIR has demonstrated that fog can be harvested in the absence of wind because of a device it invented called the whirly. The city must also vigorously encourage the waterless washing of motor vehicles and must provide the lead in this respect. Partnering with communities in a visible and constructive manner will help to conserve water, a scarce but most essential resource, and thereby help the Council fulfill effective water service delivery. Preserving the free water service component for indigent citizens is important, both as a gesture and as a palpable guarantee of their fundamental human right. Continuing urbanization will see demand potentially exceeding the installed capacity of the service, and this will happen into the future. Therefore, we should tap new sustainable sources rather than exhausting water reserves that are presently available to us. I'm in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we in agreement with the recommendation on page 15? Councillor Sotashi.
No, Mr. Speaker, we just want to quickly make this intervention. The ANC, with the plans that have been presented by Councillor Limburg, we are saying we had plans of this nature before presented by the then Mayor, Dan Plato. That was called the Master Plan for the Informal Settlement. And there was no resource to that plan. And today we are presented the plans for the next 5 years in the Informal Settlement Department. We are saying we support the plans to have a kind of an approach as a city. But plans alone, without resourcing those plans, they are nothing to those communities. So what we want to see as the African National Congress, we want to see a situation where these plans that are presented today, we measure them as we are going forward to 2022 to see that everything that has been presented is realized in terms of the resource allocation. So we support the plans presented by that department. Thank you very much.
Madam Mayor, the Councillor would like to respond. It's in order.
Yes, please, Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker. In response to the question raised around the plan is a statutory plan that forms part of the Integrated Development Plan. The public participation process was part of the IDP process. So there wasn't two separate public participation processes. The plan is an annexure to the IDP, and the IDP, as we all know, Speaker, informs the budget. And so the budget will further articulate the funding mechanisms for the two plans, the Water Services and Waste Integrated Development Plan. These will then further be detailed in the individual departmental SD books, and all of that detail that the Councillor is seeking will be incorporated into that.
Thank you. Councillor Sotashi, in order. Thank you. Are we all in agreement? Page 15, the recommendation. Thank you. Then this item has been agreed by Council. The next item, item 5, the recommendation on page 23 of the agenda, the Integrated Development Plan. The Mayor has tabled this IDP. Councillor Hendricks.
Mr. Speaker, the IDP development plan continues to be a